that. Also, there'd be tidal waves that will be tsunamis, as we call them. Tidal waves, and I saw enormous big waves jumping up and just coming in. I didn't know how tidal waves work, but I saw how it works now. The water starts pulling back from the land. It could be from an earthquake or something that starts pulling back, and it gets way back here, and that water has to go somewhere. And when that thing turns a flip and see that thing jumping, it looked to me like it was awfully high waves coming in through there. And the Lord said, these tsunamis are capable of wiping out major cities, and it will go further than any had ever been known to go. But if my people will pray, they can be protected in a lot of this, and also the severity of them can be held back a little bit, but not all the way. Now, over in Sri Lanka, there next to Sri Lanka, where we have a work, not too far away, there's a lady was told to go down to the water and stand there and command the waves to move and split. She didn't understand it, but she got such an urgent message, she decided to go. So she went down there and stood there and looked at the ocean, and of course it's beautiful beaches down there and so forth. And all of a sudden the water started pulling back, and that tsunami hit. And when that big wave came towards her, according to witnesses, I talked to Brother Henry Groover about it himself. He's the one telling me the story. And he said that thing split. When she yelled at it, it split and it went up. Wasn't it Henry told me that? I believe it was Henry that told me that. Well, somebody told me, I think it was Henry. And it come up and went around and went back and never hindered anything. I believe he told me that in Indiana when we was out there. And anyway, whoever told the story said that that whole prayer group was spared. And the water came in, but it went around. And I'm saying tonight, folks, that why don't we get out there and get some faith built up? He said there's going to be major earthquakes. You can store up water and food, which is the wise thing to do. Always have some on hand. But at the same time, you may have to learn to do more than that. You may have to take and get to the place where you know, you can do some things. Pray for some water and food to increase and so forth. Another thing is nuclear activity. That thing, the Lord showed me cities are going to be hit with these things. Now, I don't know how, but the thing that's a little bit amazing to me is the way they talked about the damage that they do. I don't know if these bombs that I saw wasn't quite as big as the others or not, I don't know. But they didn't do quite as much damage as I thought a nuclear bomb. I thought they said it would knock everything out for, you know, who knows. But the ones I saw didn't do quite all that. But they was apparently very hot because it's burned everything up, but just burned everything up out of sight, you know, just completely burned it up. And I was standing in the house one day. I just went to the prayer cathedral and come in, and I said, Esther, that's my wife here. I said, wifey, you know, there's ships on the ocean. They're headed this way. They're Russian ships. And I said, the news media is not going to tell you this now, but they're going to tell us in a couple of days. Now, you see, I'm telling her what they're going to do so that she can have the information ahead of time. These ships are not going to be able to come to shore because we're going to stop them right now. Not only me, folks. It's not one person God uses. He may speak to 1,000 people to do the same thing. Don't ever get the idea because you prayed something stopped. But I stood in my there where I was at, and I said, Russian ships, I command you in the name of Jesus, turn around and go back home. You don't come on our shores right now. And 3 days later, the news media said, there were some Russian ships out there. We don't know what they was doing. We don't know if they was exercising or what, but they turned around and went back. And what I'm telling you this for, folks, I think we got a lot more strength and power and prayer power than we think we got. I mean, come on, let's get in with it, you know. And great famine. He talked about famines hitting. He said there'll be famine like you never seen before. I saw ground just broke up and just tore apart and just dry and burning up. And there will be a shortage of food. Many people will rob others and steal food and kill each other for food. And another thing he said, if you have an addiction, you better get over it. Because when hard times come, you'll kill for that addiction to be satisfied. And then I saw floods. Number 7, I saw floods coming in. And those floods was really doing much damage. I saw chisel out ditches that looked like these 25 to 35 foot wide, 10 to 15 foot deep in that vision I saw. Now, while the chaos and confusion is beginning to happen, you see, this is going to be really to the advantage of the government, whoever that is. I'm not sure it's American. I'm not sure who's going to be in government at the time or who's going to be our leaders. But there's one thing I do know. There's going to be real disasters are going to cause them to come in and take over. And the Lord renewed some of the prophetic messages that I gave on the Word of the Lord for America. And on December the 23rd, 2005, He said, tell my people that what you prophesied is coming to pass. It's not coming to pass right away, but it's coming to pass. Now, we are now in Mexico City. I told you in the beginning we went to Mexico City. And while I was in Mexico City, I heard these words, advancement. Later on, I heard the word restriction. Well, I didn't know what this meant for sure. So, in the morning, I got up and I said to the team, I said, I have to be alone because there's something the Lord is trying to tell me. And then I heard the word coalition. Later I heard the word restoration. Nothing else beside the words. And the 5th one was marriage. So I already know that you pray and ask the Lord, you know what He means by this. And He said the church is advancing, number 1. The church is advancing, but it's advancing in the wrong way. The church is giving a gospel that's not the true gospel. It's advancing with the gospel, but it's going the wrong kind of a gospel. He said, number 2, the church has restrictions, but they're actually restricting the Holy Ghost. There's a lot of holding back on the Holy Spirit because their theology and philosophy and traditions and etc. And then he said the 3rd one is that the church is actually in coalition with Satan's forces. Now, not the remnant. Yeah, I'm talking about the general Christendom. And then he talked about restoration. And he said the 5-fold ministry will be restored in the remnant. Not only the 5-fold ministry, but everything the church has lost from the book of Acts down will be restored. There'll be more manifestations of power in the last day church than's ever been known in the history of the world.